Podcast is sponsored by Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce made specially for you. So if you like hot sauce, you'll love Great White Hot Sauce. It's the hot sauce that bites back. Find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. The 80s had some really good music and some really bad music. And on this episode, we're going to focus on the bad. The really bad. Like, worst songs of the 80s. According to me and Jack. I'm sure our list will be different, as I'm sure yours will be too. Maybe you'll agree, maybe you'll disagree. Listen in and find out.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean with his co-host Jack Calabrese. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
All right, let's start this again. We record this for the podcast, so this will be edited right in. Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction as usual. Welcome to the podcast. You know the name of it, so I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Maybe the soon-to-be-owned Twitter. Hold on. Yes, Jack.
Can't hear you, man.
You can't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Let's see.
There are other people that are saying that they can't hear you either.
Everything's in line. And like audio.
I cannot hear you, Scott. Scott, I cannot
here we go.
hear you, Scotty boy. I would like to know what you are saying, but I cannot.
You can hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, man. Where is the sound? Where's the sound?
I don't know. I got everything lined up. Audio, Roadcaster. Let me just, let me go out and go. And then go back in.
I can hear you now.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
All right, so let me start this again since we can edit this. We can edit this for the podcast, so they'll never know. So I'm going to start fresh. Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction as usual. Welcome to the podcast. You know the name of it, so I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Maybe the soon-to-be-owned by Elon Musk Twitter. And at this point, I'd introduce what we're talking about, which is worst songs of the 80s. And then I would have some quip to say. Then I would say, speaking of worst, here's my co-host, Jack Calabrese.
What a horrible thing to say. It's a terrible, terrible introduction.
But you were already on the screen because we were experiencing technical difficulties for a second.
Technical difficulties. That's all right.
Technical difficulties. Testicle difficulties. We don't want those.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, Jack. How are you?
I'm doing okay, although a lot going on in the Calabrese household. Mrs. C is down with the COVID, and we've been isolating her and kind of doing our own thing and, watching very closely because I am actually traveling tomorrow.
No mask required.
Yeah, but you know what? I got to tell you, with her being in the state that she's in, I haven't decided whether I'm going to wear one or not. I think it might be the right thing to wear one, but I haven't decided. I hate wearing it on the plane. Hate it. Hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not.
Kidding.
It's not the guy
It's
that I
your
am.
call, buddy. It's your call. So let me ask you a question before we get into the worst songs of the 80s. Let me ask you a question. I always seem to ask you the questions. Is Journey, as far as concert-wise, are they like the Hoover Dam? Just got to see them once, and that's it. You don't really have to see them again.
Well, let me ask you this: are you saying that because Journey's not really Journey anymore?
No. I saw them with what's his name, Arnold.
Steve Perry back in the day.
No, the Filipino guy.
Yeah, Arnett Parnell or whatever his name
Parnell
is.
Or something. Yeah.
Shields from the Arnell Parnell.
Sounds just like Steve Perry. So, and he puts on a great show. But as far as the music, like they're not a big production band. You're not really seeing anything different if you see them twice. Neil Schon walks to the front of the stage every other let me see, halfway through every song to show that I am the lead guitarist of Journey.
I think it goes beyond that. I think he believes that he is Journey.
Journey, yeah.
And to be quite honest, he is Journey. So you have Greg Rowley and what's the guy's name we just said?
Arnett Parnell?
No, the guitar player.
Oh, Neil Schon.
Yeah, Neil Schon. They left Santana to form Journey. So, they were kind of a prog rock light band in the 70s, with Greg Rowley doing most of the lead vocal heavy lifting. And it wasn't until they brought Steve Perry and Jonathan Cain
that they took off.
They took off, and they made, it was almost in a way, almost like Fleetwood Mac, So Fleetwood Mac was, blues band, struggled for a long time. They certainly had a lot of respect from fellow musicians, but it wasn't until they brought in Stevie Nicks, and Lindsey Buckingham they turned into a pop band, which a great pop band, with some incredible music. I know you're not a huge fan. But I think that Journey kind of did
I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of Fleetwood Mac. Just nothing before their seminal album, Fleetwood Mac. Seminal titled album, Fleetwood Mac.
Have you ever gone back and listened to those old albums?
As far as Rumors and
no. Prior to Rumors. So the Peter Green.
Oh no! I have one of their old albums that it's behind the Green Monster now.
You haven't decided to just get rid of it?
Nah, it's hard. It's hard to get rid of. I just like looking at it, seeing just saying you're a shitty album.
Yeah. I mean,
shitty album.
Guys like you and I, we don't get rid of records. Even if they're shitty records, those things that, we grew up and we coveted them and, we held on to them. But, to answer your question, I think you bring up a good point is that, once you see Journey once, you've basically seen the show. It's not going to change dramatically. And that's one of the things that some people absolutely love about Journey. They know exactly what they're going to get. You don't have Journey coming out and saying, hey, we know that you want to hear Love and Touch and Squeezing and Open Arms and Don't Stop Believing and whatnot, but we're actually going to play you our new albums from start to finish. People would be bullshit because they don't really care. They don't want to be challenged by music. They want to reminisce.
They want an oldies band.
They want nostalgia, right?
It's an oldies band. Yeah.
So any of those bands. So whether it's Journey, or whether it's Foreigner, or whether it's Styx.
Yeah.
Those guys are a shadow of what they once were. There aren't really many original band members in there, and they're going out and they're earning a living, making people happy, which is not a bad thing, and playing their hits, and people pay whatever it is that they pay, and they walk out of there saying, hey, I heard all of the stuff that I wanted to hear, and I sang along with every song, and that's great.
I saw Hall & Oates a while back at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino and Hotel in Hollywood, Florida. And at one point, Daryl Hall says, yeah, we're going to let Mr. Oates play some of his songs.
Yeah. Never
John
was
Oates.
the beer line so long. Never was the beer line so long. Okay, yeah,
It was
thank you.
it's like a sympathy sex. It's like sympathy. Just going to give it to you just because. I'm going to throw it out there for you.
Look, you and I have had this discussion, a couple of times, especially with what they charge for concert tickets today. Look, I've been, a passive Madonna fan for years. I think she did some brilliant stuff. And true to our theme tonight, I thought that she's done some shit stuff. The last time I saw her, we paid big money, had great seats and whatnot. She didn't play any of her old stuff. For me, it's all about balance. But again, I thought and I think that Madonna, the right thing for her to do is forget about playing the Wang Center and playing all of your new stuff. Most people don't give a shit. Play Fenway Park, play your greatest hits, make everybody happy, have your 50 dancers on stage, and cash your checks.
You just mentioned something. So you pay a lot of money for a show. I'm kind of spoiled now. David Gilmour is playing in Miami, and I'm at a point now where I want good seats. I don't want to sit in the fucking balcony anymore. I don't want to sit at the back of the stadium. I won't go to a stadium show, first of all. Haven't been since the U2 discotheque tour. So I looked at ticket prices. Like, get the fuck out of here.
It's insane.
I'm not paying, okay, it's like $180 a ticket. And it's an acoustic set. It's acoustic, which is nice, but I don't think he'll be playing Dogs of War.
No.
That, well, and then I saw the show that they're not coming to South Florida, but New Order and the Pet Shop Boys. And I don't know what popped up on Ticketmaster. And I saw the fucking ticket prices for like decent to good to really good seats. Fucking pound sand, man. I saw 3 years ago, before the pandemic, I saw the Pet Shop Boys at the Jackie Gleason Theater in Miami. Fillmore, it's Fillmore East. It used to be Fillmore East. And it was like, I don't know, $80 a ticket. That's fine. We had first row and like the small balcony, looking right down at everything. Nothing in our way. And that was a great show. Seeing shows there, it's like going to the Orpheum. It's quaint. It's loud. It's good acoustics. There's no freaking way that I was paying $280 a ticket, $200 a ticket to see New Order in the Pet Shop Boys.
Well, it's actually it's actually getting worse than that, right? So, $280 is not the ceiling by any means in terms of ticket prices. So one of the things, and I don't know exactly where it started, but I know if you think about Uber, the car service, they introduced the concept of dynamic pricing. So their prices increase based upon demand. So when you're talking about like the high traffic time, so if you think about trying to take an Uber after a baseball game or in or around Fenway, the Uber prices go through the roof.
Yeah, I understand.
Because they know, right? The next group, and I don't know that I have this right in terms of the exact order, but the airlines are doing this now. the less seats that are available on the plane, the more expensive they
It's
are.
always been that way. Yeah. And the closer you get, it's more expensive.
And
Holidays
now
more expensive.
And now Ticketmaster has adopted this thing. Let me tell you something. There's a couple of articles out there. I won't, do them a disservice or an injustice by trying to half-ass quote them. But there are a couple of articles out there that actually talk about this dynamic pricing, especially as it pertains to pre-sales for a particular artist. So you think that, hey, I'm getting in early, I'm a fan, I'm going to get preferred seating. Do you know what's really happening? They're actually trying to gauge the demand, and they're going to set the prices for the tickets based upon that initial demand.
Well, that's going on with movies also. They've been doing that over in Europe. They've never done it in the States, but now that the pandemic is over and people are going back to movie theaters, the Batman showing at the Regal Theater was more than Life on the Road or whatever another movie was.
Yeah,
so
sure.
the more popular the movie, but they're not saying anything to anybody. They're kind of sneaking this in because they know people will get pissed off. But
things are absolutely getting out of hand, and I'll give you an example. And this breaks my heart, by the way. If you go back into the early '90s, there was a band that tried to stand up to Ticketmaster and their unfair ticket pricing practices. Pearl Jam, right?
Yeah, and they got slaughtered.
So Pearl Jam tried to mount a tour and to bypass Ticketmaster, which means that they had to bypass a lot of the normal venues. And it was a huge, huge, huge mistake on their part. They lost a ton of money. The tour had to be, scrapped. But Pearl Jam, like a lot of other bands right now, have now kind of adopted this dynamic ticket pricing. So they're not coming anywhere near Boston right now. They're actually, the closest place that they're playing to here is they're playing Madison Square Garden on September 11th. I looked on Ticketmaster today, and these are not resale seats. These are not any type of VIP package, right? The tickets that I saw on Ticketmaster were $2,300 a piece.
The fuck out of here.
$2,300 a piece.
Fuck that. So they suck too now. They're just fucking money grubbers.
It's
great music, but they lost remember in the 60s and 70s, like bands like the Rolling Stones and Aerosmith would never sell out to the commercial world and da. And next thing you know, they're selling songs to Nike. John Lennon, the Beatles' Revolution is playing in a Nike commercial. And Pearl Jam, just like all the rest of them, they're no different. They're going to get the money. They're going to do the gouging. It's basically ticket gouging, price gouging.
They're all the same. So let me give you just one more quick example. And I know you're not a huge fan, but I've always been a big fan of the Dave Matthews Band. I've been in their fan association for what they call the Warehouse for 20 years. 20 years this year, as a matter of fact, right? So I was out, kind of under the impression as I got close, hey, when you hit 20 years, do you have a seniority aspect to it? Are you going to get something special or whatnot? And they're playing 2 nights up in Guilford, New Hampshire, so up by Lake Winnipesaukee. Last time they came around, which was last year, I put in for tickets. I was 5 rows outside of the pit area. Great shows. Great ticket prices. 20th year being in the Dave Matthews, fan club. And now that this whole dynamic ticket pricing and the demand has gone up, put in for 2 nights, I am way, 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 way back to the point that I'm not sure that I'm even going to go. I mean, like if you imagine the amphitheater, you're right. You have section 1, section 2, section 3. After 20 years of being in their fan association and consistently going to shows and whatnot, my tickets are in section 3.
Yeah.
It's disgraceful. Yeah. And the reason why I'm in 3 is because they know they can get a lot more money.
The premium tickets.
For the premium tickets.
No loyalty anymore. No.
There's no loyalty. And people are blaming it on, we took a beating during COVID. I'm sorry, Eddie Vedder, but you're worth $300 million. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I wonder when businesses are going to stop blaming not having anything. We can't order it. COVID.
Yeah, but you know whose fault it is, Scott? It's ours. There's an easy fix. We all have to find some way of getting together and just not buying the fucking tickets anymore.
So Mark Smith commented, YouTube watcher and friend of the show, for the price of really good concert tickets, I invested in a good home theater system, a good TV, and I just buy concert DVDs. I can pee when I want, and drinks are cheap. And you know what? You don't even have to buy DVDs anymore because they have streaming services. There's a few music streaming services that play concerts. I can't remember the name of one of them, but it's all concerts.
Hey, you know what, Mark? I appreciate that, and if that does it for you, fantastic.
Yeah,
I will tell you. I will tell you, for me, I've gone to hundreds and hundreds of concerts. I've always been a big concert goer, and there's still nothing like being in a live setting and having that energy of the crowd around you. And you know what? That's me. There are other people that, like my wife will go to a show, but like you, Scott, she has no interest in going to like stadium shows. Sometimes I like the whole production in the, just the hugeness of being in a giant stadium. It's a different thing.
Last time I was there, it was, like I said, U2 at Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona for the discotheque. And that was Rage Against the Machine backed them up. And that was like a road trip for a bunch of us that we were stationed together in the Air Force in Albuquerque. But again, I'm done with stadium shows. It better be a goddamn like fucking barn burner for me to go see a stadium show now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on who it is.
That's what I mean. It's got to be somebody that I really want to see. So
if Oasis came around and they were playing football stadiums, you would probably go, right?
Because that might be the only chance you get to see them.
Sure. By the way, don't forget. Let's document this one more time. When Oasis does get back together and they play Wembley Stadium,
I buy the tickets.
You're buying the tickets and the airfare.
No, I didn't say airfare. I said tickets. I said you pay for the airfare.
No. And you're buying the first round of fish and chips.
Yeah.
I know you're not a big drinker, but I want my warm beer paid for by Scott, the king of Facebook, McLean.
There you go. Perry Didovich watching on YouTube. I respect the comment. There's a but at the end, and you'll get a kick out of it. I saw shows at Madison Square Garden for $25. Let me tell you, we saw shows at the Boston Garden for $12 on the floor, like 10th row floor, $12.
You and I saw Elton John, 1982.
Yeah,
I think it was around December. Played everything. And we were, 10th row dead center.
Yep.
And they were $14.50. They
Bob
were $14.50.
Bob Seger, dead center floor. Ted Nugent, dead center floor. The list goes on. We always got good tickets. We always got good tickets.
Yeah,
other than the Who, I was in the loge seats for the. No, you know where I was in the loge seats, kind of in the back corner of the garden, and I'm kind of glad I was. Fucking the Black and Blue tour, Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult. Oh my God, what an overrated, overhyped. Ronnie James Dio was fucking horrible with them.
Whoa! What are you talking about?
I was not a big fan.
Hey, see what you're doing there? Ronnie James Dio, the creator of the Devil Horns.
Of the Devil Horns.
Devil Horns.
Hey, I'll give him that. I didn't hate Ronnie James Dio. I just wasn't a fan of his music, his act, his look. Nothing appealed to me about Ronnie. But I give the guy credit. He was a mover and a shaker in that realm of music.
He was a metal guy. And then,
little dude created a big persona.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ronnie James Dio, I think he had to have been 5'1", 5'2".
I give him credit, and he's losing his hair and all, but the dude had a big presence. He left his mark. There's no doubt. Yeah. I wasn't a fan, but
do you know where he started?
Dio started with
So he started with a band called Elf, which I don't think either you nor I know any of their members.
Yeah, I heard that band, but we never heard the band.
Yeah,
but I know it's kind of his history.
Do you think he took offense to the fact that he was
an elf?
he was?
Oh,
But then,
was he a dwarf? I don't know. Are dwarfs bigger than elves, or elves are bigger than dwarfs? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the technical, aspect of that. But he moved from being an elf, and when Deep Purple, when Richie Blackmore left Deep Purple, he formed Rainbow. And
yeah.
Ronnie James Dio, I believe, was the first lead singer of Rainbow.
Yes, he was.
And then when that band dissolved, he ended up joining Black Sabbath for 2 albums. They did Heaven and Hell and The Mob Rules. And look, there was a period of time where, for whatever reason, Boston got screwed. If you think about, there were a couple of years at the Garden where the concerts that they had there were fucking shit. Yeah. It was Black and Blue. Oh. It was the Outlaws and Foghat. It was Jethro Tull. It was Santana.
Yeah. No. Hey, Louis Colicchio, watching on YouTube, says he says, the last stadium show I went to was Springsteen at Giant Stadium in 2002. Spent the show being doused by beer with drunk frat boys. Never again.
All right. Louis, can I call you Louis?
You can call me Louis.
I've got a tip for you. If you ever actually go to another stadium show and you have rowdy people around you, you march your ass right down to guest services and you tell them what's happening. You tell them what's happening, and they will move you into about the 10th row. Take it from me. Take it from me. I've done it 24 times. The Rolling Stones, my wife and I, were in the last row of the balcony at the Boston Gardens, and I walked down there to guest services and said, "Hey, there are a bunch of people around us smoking pot. My wife has asthma. It's just a nightmare." They were like, "You know what? Oh, you should have come down early." They marched she and I down to the 13th row. Here's the thing. There were no guys. There was no pot. There wasn't any asthma.
Of course not. Yeah, of course not. Of course. Mark Smith, good info right here. Watching on YouTube, he says, Elf backed up Richie and Dio on the first Rainbow tour album.
There you go. There you go.
Good one. Good pluck, man. Good.
So Mark Smith, good information. Here's something that you may actually want to consider. Where's Mark from, Scott?
I don't know. He's watching on YouTube. So
no, Mark, Ronnie James Dio. So I'm broadcasting along with Scott. Scott's down in Florida. I'm in Dover, New Hampshire, just north of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, birthplace of Ronnie James Dio.
There you go.
How about that?
There you go. All right. Let's move into tonight's topic. We'll go song for song. Now it's the worst songs of the 80s. Okay. I have a quick list that my buddy Todd Sockman sent me. He's a big fan of the show. He actually is he's somebody that always calls me and gives me critiques at the after each show. He always seems to like it. He loves to get on Jack when Jack's not here. He'll always say, "Is Jack really going to be there tonight?" So, but he's a fan of the show. But he said his little list, he just off the top of his head is, "Wake Me Up Before You Go, Go Wham." And this was what he sent me. That song sucks. Karma Chameleon by Culture Club. That song really sucks. Mm-hmm. My Prerogative by Bobby Brown. Now, we were stationed together in the Air Force we went through law enforcement tech school, K-9, Air Base Ground Defense training. We went to the Philippines together. We were in Sacramento together. So he says, My Prerogative by Bobby Brown. That song really, really sucks. And my roommate in the Philippines would play that stupid song every night before we went to work. It sucks. So that's Todd's little list. I kind of, and then he said anything Milli Vanilli. So those are the real commonplace songs that suck.
I have to tell you that I kind of, just to refamiliarize myself and to get a couple of ideas. for this discussion, I jumped online like most people do, and
And
I
you
was
have to carry a show. Like, we're not carrying a conversation at a party. We have to do a little bit of research.
No, I guarantee you, Scott, I'm going to disagree with you. I know you and I know me. We don't need to do any fucking research. We could have had this conversation without doing any research, but it helps. There's no question about it.
3/4 of my list. 3/4 of my list. I have 25 songs. 3/4 of them came off at the top of my head, just really thinking, like just thinking them through.
Yeah.
Group. I went genre, years. I kind of really broke it down, but I did have to kind of pluck some more.
Well, you know what? As I put a little thought into it, first and foremost, I kind of divided it up because I think in any decade you have the gimmick songs, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the Dr. Demento, Weird Al Yankovic type songs, and we'll talk about those in a second.
Throwaways.
And then, so I don't know if you can see this or not. You probably can't, but I have mine categorized as gimmick songs and real shit.
Well,
but before we get into the list, there's a couple of comments that I need to make.
Okay.
And that is, for some of the more established rock and roll artists, the 80s were tough.
Oh, I got some of those, buddy. I have some of those.
The 80s were tough. When I think about some of the people that were huge in the 60s and 70s, they struggled to try to maintain their relevance in the 80s. And there's a couple that I just listed, and I'm sure there are more. Number one, our friends from Led Zeppelin. I'm sorry, but those guys struggled. Robert Plant, those first couple of solo albums, there's a couple of good songs here and there.
Pretty good songs.
Couple of good songs.
I'm in the mood, and when he was with the Honey Drippers. Sea Love, and
there's a lot of filler in there. And talking about those old concert days, we had to go and see Robert Plant, right? Because Robert Plant was an icon, but they were not great shows. Especially in those early days, those first couple of tours, he refused to play any Zeppelin songs.
Dude, a friend of mine saw him. Him and his mom and his girlfriend and his sister and her boyfriend. They had tickets in New Jersey to go. They live in New Jersey. They were, we're going to see Robert Plant. We're going to see Robert Plant. But he was with Alison Krauss, and he played nothing. He sang zero Led Zeppelin songs.
Yeah.
Now the difference between him and Morrissey has a pretty good catalog without the Smiths. Robert Plant,
no question.
Nothing.
Not so much.
Fucking zero.
So the last time that I saw Robert Plant, and look, I was caught up into it, right? We never, back in those days, until Live Aid, had the opportunity to see Led Zeppelin. So seeing Robert Plant was close, maybe on the off chance he would actually do Trampled Underfoot or Ramble On or something like that. The best part of seeing Robert Plant, the 3 times that I saw him as a solo act, was when Stevie Ray Vaughan was the opening act.
Yeah.
And when Stevie Ray Vaughan left the stage, that show went downhill. Yeah. But if Robert Plant had a difficult time in the early 80s, Jimmy Page had even more of a difficult time. Remember the band The Firm?
See, again, like Robert Plant, they had a couple of good songs.
A couple
of good songs. And you would have thought, though, with what's his name?
Paul Rogers. Paul Rogers from Bad Company.
Yeah. You would have thought they would have came out with some better stuff. Right?
Nope. It wasn't. But I remember sitting through that concert, literally thinking, what a giant steaming pile of shit this show is.
Yeah.
And he tried to do it, they had lasers and he brought out the bow, playing it. They would have been so much more successful if they said, hey, you know what? Me and Paul Rogers are going on tour together. We're going to play nothing but Zeppelin songs and Bad Company songs and the few Firm songs that you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
But no, we need to have artistic integrity. We need to move on. No, you're an entertainer. So, you need to go and do that.
Even Morrissey mixes in some Smith songs, like 3,
absolutely.
Maybe 4 Smith songs, in his show. He knows he's tired of them. He likes them, but he's tired of them. He has his own catalog. And I always refer to him because he has a unique career. He came from superstardom to more superstardom. And, you know, as he gets older, just like any artist, they start to kind of fall off the charts a little. But he does have a solid catalog to choose from.
Yeah. The boys from Led Zeppelin were certainly not alone. So I just made a couple of notes. The Who had a rough time in the 80s. You know, All
the Good Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes was a good album for Pete Townsend.
Yeah, but that was a solo album. That was not a Who album. Right?
Oh, you're talking okay, them playing together, yeah.
So you know, the Who, you know, they put out Face Dances in 81, 82, and then they put out It's Hard. Neither of those albums, you know, there's a couple of good songs, a couple of decent songs. Even Springsteen. If you go past Born in the USA, you know, remember in the early 80s, in the late 80s and early 90s.
Tunnel of Love was a good album. Tunnel of Love was a very good album.
There's some great stuff on that, but he actually left or fired the E Street Band and kind of went in a different direction because, you know, I don't want to be tied to the past. You know, so there's a lot of those
Mark things. Smith brought up a good point. Hold on. He says even Queen let Paul Rodgers play a couple of Free and Bad Company songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, for my money, the biggest songwriting, music producing, music creating criminal of the 1980s was Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney, and I don't know whether he was reeling from Lennon's death or he was lost creatively or if he was
No More Lonely Nights was a good song.
It was not.
Okay, here we go. You're putting that. All right, so let's kick this off.
So let me. I put just a small list of Paul McCartney songs. Say. You know, you said No More Lonely Nights. You liked, Take It Away, My Brave Face, The Girl Is Mine, Pipes of Peace, Spies Like Us. That fucking Christmas song.
Hey. Whoa.
That is a classic. Hey, wait a minute. You hold on right there.
No, you wait a minute. You wait a minute. I can interrupt you. I can interrupt you just like you interrupt me. That is a classic Christmas song, and don't talk anymore about it.
You can interrupt me all you want, but the whoa that's my tagline.
You're an idiot.
That's my tagline too.
Oh, you just own all the taglines on the Milk Crates and Turntables podcast. Jack, Jack, why'd you start your own podcast? Call it the Tagline Podcast. I create taglines for podcasts.
Whoa.
That's a good business.
It's my catchphrase.
See, Mark Flynn says, Jack stepped over the line. Christmas song, you pagan.
All right. You know,
you attacked a Christmas song.
For Mark Flynn and you, I do have a sentimental part of my heart that loves the
and a synthesizer in it.
I wrote a song.
Here we go. You
this
did
is
this on
it.
the Christmas show. You did this
I
on the
smoked some
Christmas...
pot. The song is shit.
You did that on the Christmas episode. Okay. All right, let's get to the list.
Hey, the classics never die. It's good stuff.
Let's get to the list. I go, you go. I go, you go. I think we'll agree on this one.
I hate this I go, you go thing. We need to have conversation in between.
We will. Like, we'll talk about my choice and your choice. I mean, hey, look, I'll just go silent and let you read off your 75 songs. I don't care. I'm going to go eat a fucking bucket of chicken.
Ooh. Wait, where do you get buckets of chicken down there? Are you a KFC guy?
I'm a KFC guy, yeah.
When was the last time you got a bucket? When was the last time you got a bucket of chicken?
2 weeks ago. Yeah. I mean,
how many
not
pieces?
For me, for the family. I got the 12 piece.
Yeah. Does your family happen to wonder, like, wait a minute, it says on the bucket here that this is a 21-piece bucket. Why is there only 15 pieces in it? And why are your hands so greasy?
Hey, look at Publix supermarket. here in Florida. Publix is a state kind of.
Yeah, I know.
They
I know
have
Publix.
some outstanding fried chicken. I'll tell you, outstanding fried chicken.
Do you make fried chicken? Do you ever make it?
No, I don't.
It's not easy. Making good fried chicken is not easy.
My
but
first
I
wife
will
did,
tell you.
but I can't.
I'll tell you, and I know we're way off topic here. You know what
Yes,
the best
we
thing
are.
about the best thing about KFC is?
What?
The coleslaw.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mark Flynn asked me recently. Oh yeah, they have name one good side that because he's a Popeyes guy, right? He says name one good side that KFC has. I immediately said coleslaw, and he said, "Well, you got a point there. They do have good coleslaw.
They have good coleslaw,
They have
and
good
you
coleslaw.
have to admire the fact that KFC has a bucket that after you eat all of the chicken that you have,
Put it on your head and play guitar."
either that or you go to the bathroom in the bucket.
Hey, all right,
Hey.
back to the show.
All right.
Although, let me get one more shot in. Beachmont roast beef in Beachmont, Massachusetts has the greatest coleslaw ever. That's it.
They do have great.
That's great coleslaw. And it's not multicolored either. It's whatever they mix it with. Anyways.
Before we leave Beachmont roast beef, just a memory that popped in my head. I do want to give a shout out to John Gurliaccio, who stuffed an entire double-decker roast beef sandwich in his mouth.
Ooh.
One bite.
Oh. That's a man right there. That's a man. A double beef.
The inspiration for the Heimlich maneuver.
Look at this. All right, let's get to these lists. All right, I'm going to start off with 1985's Walk of Life by Dire Straits. Ugh. Ugh. Do you think David Knopfler misses playing that song?
I think David Knopfler would embrace playing that song.
This guy has no idea the attention we give him.
So David Knopfler, for those people that haven't listened in the past, Mark Knopfler is the principal writer of Dire Straits. Principal writer, lead singer, lead guitar player. He's the star, right? He is Dire Straits. It's Mark Knopfler and those other five guys. But his brother is in the band. And his brother either loves The Walk of Life because he's got a songwriting credit on it, if he does, or he fucking hates that song. Like, you know what? Brother Mark, you were always mom and dad's favorite. If you play that song, I'm going to walk over and I'm going to put this guitar right over your fucking head.
Oh, yeah. All right, give me a song.
I think that the all-time low, and this is a double shot, is Starship.
Yeah.
We Built This City. And even, I didn't think there was a song worse than We Built This City, but they followed that up, I think, with There's Nothing Gonna Stop Us Now.
Nothing's going to stop us now. It was much better than We Built This City. Much better song.
But there are so many layers to why these songs are horrible. And the number one is because this was a band that had credibility in the 60s and in the 70s that were politically motivated. They were at Woodstock. They were at Altamont. They influenced a generation. And they completely
she
sold
did,
out.
Because by the time it was Starship, she was the only one left.
Yeah, but no, that's not true. Paul Kantner was still in the band.
Yeah, Paul Kantner was still, but okay, but still.
There was still, but those songs are incredibly horrible and a disgrace to their legacy. I think that those songs actually damaged their legacy.
Mark Flynn says I call it. No, Mark. I mean, it's well known that is the worst song of the 80s. That's a throwaway. That's what I call a throwaway song.
Terrible.
Everybody knows that's
song.
It got voted worst song of the 80s. That's right. It's kind of a throwaway. But
I would have to imagine that there was a band conversation where they were like, look, this is a shitty song, but we're going to make a fortune off of this.
Oh, Mark Flynn says, fuck you. Oh, ooh.
Mark, woo.
The audience is getting testy. Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck me. No, fuck you.
Mark.
I get the last word.
Mark, on behalf of Scott and myself, we apologize if we have upset you in any particular way.
Fuck you, Jack. All right, I'm going to throw this one out there. From 1988, fucking horrible song. Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Oh, my
Okay.
Lord.
All right. So here's where you and I
That was a number one, too. That was a number one song, too.
Here's where you and I are going to differ. And let's back up a second. Let's back up a second. I categorize, as I showed you, and then my worst songs of the 80s between gimmick songs and real shit. And I regard Bobby McFerrin's Don't Worry, Be Happy as a gimmick song. I don't think it's a good song, but I don't think it's
number one.
I don't think it's
number one.
Yeah, but so were some other really goofy songs.
Yeah,
but I don't regard Don't Worry, Be Happy as I don't look at it as a real song.
That's a burden to him. That song is a burden to him.
The last show that you and I did, we talked about making mixtapes. I don't think there's anybody out there that has a mixtape with Don't Worry, Be Happy on it.
No doubt.
It's a joke song.
If they do and they're listening, get off my show. Get off my show.
It's a joke song. It's not the worst song of the 80s because
it's one of them. It's one of them. It's a song. It was in the top 10. It was a number one. It's a song of the 80s.
Okay.
I'm not pulling shit out of nowhere.
No, I get it.
Give me a song.
I will give you a song. So, the band Poison.
Unskinny Bop.
Unskinny Bop.
Wasn't that 1990?
Don't know, but certainly a band
close
that
enough.
Identified with the 80s. So I'll give you another one. Okay,
enough.
so you don't want Unskinny Bop.
I'll take it. That's close enough. They created it in '89.
How about their version of Your Mama Don't Dance?
Good one. Horrible one. Good call on a horrible song.
We had our conversations about doing cover songs, and cover songs are cool if you take them somewhere, if you change them up, if you make them better. It was a shitty song to begin with, and they made it fucking worse.
Yeah. I'm going to go with 1984's Glory Days, Bruce Springsteen. God, what a fucking horrible song.
Mr. McLean. On my list.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Terrible song.
Thank you. We don't even have to discuss it any further. Give me a song.
Terrible song. So, we had talked a little bit about the fall from grace of Paul McCartney in the 80s, but his brother in arms, George Harrison, I got my mind set on
my
you.
stepdaughter Amanda loves that song. She
Why?
loves.
Why?
I don't know. She loves it. She loves that song. I don't particularly like it if it comes on. Unfortunately, I'm forced to listen to it. But I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of that song. It's gonna take money.
I think it's a throwaway song that he wrote in fucking 10 minutes, or maybe it was 10 weeks that it took him. And he was like, okay, you know what? This will get me on MTV. This will keep me relevant. And I don't think it damaged George Harrison's reputation by any means.
No.
But certainly not indicative of the talent that George Harrison had. And I will tell you, the lovely Miss Deb downstairs still suffering with COVID, but on the mend.
Good.
George Harrison, by far, her favorite Beatle.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Hey, he's no Ringo, but, we've had that discussion. So I'm going to go with 4 words I hope I never fucking hear again. From 1985, We Are the World.
So We Are the World was a response
to Band-Aid.
And it piggyback on Band-Aid, Bob Geldof and Midge Ure, who put that single together. And they did it after, I don't think it was after the Grammys. I think it was after the American Music Awards. It is a shit song. Terrible, terrible song. Look, I was at Live Aid. It was the worst song played that day.
Jesus.
Look, for those people that say, oh my God, it had a cause and it was meaningful and whatnot. I get that. But in terms of it being just a song, in terms of it being credible and valuable, in terms of just its song and its singing and whatnot, when was the last time you listened to it?
Damn right. That's right.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right, give me one.
Okay.
And I'm just warming up. Mine. This isn't in any particular order, but I'm warming up here.
Yeah. So
horror shows.
So here's one of the songs that people may like, but this is a personal thing. I was a big fan like many people were of the Steve Miller Band. I mean, a lot of us found either Fly Like an Eagle or Steve
I know
Miller's
where you're
Greatest
going.
Hits.
I know where you're going.
But in the 80s, he really just kind of had one big hit, and that big hit was Scott.
Abracadabra.
Holy fucking shit. I speed up my heart good.
The only thing in the video, typical fucking 80s video, made no fucking sense. That's the only reason people listen to it, because it was an early MTV video. That's the only reason that thing caught traction. That's it.
Well, you know, the funny thing is that MTV may be the only reason why that song caught traction, but it also may be the only reason why I fucking hate that song is because it was in such heavy rotation on MTV.
And we were all MTV maniacs back then. You know, we watched it religiously.
And by the way, just for the record, the first time they played it on MTV, I was like, what the fuck is this? What happened to Fly Like an Eagle? What happened to Jet Airliner? What happened to the Joker?
Yeah. Take the money and run.
Horrible.
Yeah.
He took the money and he ran.
He ran. That's a good one. Yeah, he certainly did. I actually have a song that's worse than that. My next song.
Believe it. I don't believe it.
Oh, but it's true. From 1983. I hate the band, and I hate this song even more. Fucking Styx, Mr. Roboto.
Ooh, on my list. God. On my list.
If that motherfucker Dennis DeYoung did not fucking listen to Black Sabbath's Iron Man and say, I could make a song out of that. I could make a nice production out of this. We could have a giant robot on the stage and because Dennis DeYoung only wanted to do these Hollywood productions, these big stage shows where he's just like, he's the entertainer and he's the Mr. Roboto sucks. Mr. Roboto is nothing but an Iron Man ripoff.
So you could see the evolution or the de-evolution, if you will. So the album, or one of the albums prior to Mr. Roboto was Styx's Paradise Theater, which was kind of a concept album,
and
right?
Tim, that's Dennis DeYoung, yeah.
So, and those guys wanted to go. I mean, look, the Mr. Roboto is like, hey, here's our concept album. This is our Tommy. Yeah, it wasn't. See, Tommy and a lot of the concept albums that came out in the 70s were created by people that really had some intellectual prowess.
Geniuses.
Geniuses,
musical geniuses.
Not Styx.
Pete Townsend. I mean, you know what I mean? Musical geniuses. Roger Waters, David Gilmour.
But I would be curious to know, and I do not know the answer off the top of my head. How much play has Styx gotten from Mr. Roboto? Not a good song, not a good album. Probably kind of destroyed that band, but it's part of the cultural mesh of you know the music
culture,
right? no, but a lot of people like listen. If you went down into a bar, or if you went down into a restaurant and you asked 20 people about the band Styx, I bet you 19 would mention Mr. Roboto almost off the bat.
If that song is culture, it belongs in a petri dish.
Well, Spam is also culture. So is Cane's mayonnaise.
And I could make a sandwich out of both. With both. All right, give me a song.
Okay, so here's a good one. I am actually going to say, look, I was a big fan of the Beach Boys in the 60s and the early 70s.
I know where you're going with this. It's on my list.
Oh, God.
It's on my list.
In the Florida Keys. In a place called Kokomo.
Only because it was in a movie. Did that thing get any legs?
I was in Kokomo and ran into Mr. Roboto.
Right? It was in the movie Cocktail, right?
But again, you know, not a great song.
No.
I almost forgive it a little bit because, you know, the Beach Boys have always kind of had their cheesy side. And it's a song that kind of suits that band to a certain extent.
I think they lowered the standards for that song.
Yeah, it's not a great song.
It's such a simple-minded song. There's nothing Nothing to it. It's just garbage thrown together. You could have wrote that song.
Whoa.
Just saying.
Whoa.
It was.
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
I'm gonna go in 1986. Fuck. And it's played every fucking year now at New Year's. Europe, the final countdown. Oh my God. And that has synthesizer in it, and I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. So look, I don't think that we're going to have a debate on this. I don't have any great love for Europe in the final countdown, but I don't find it nearly as offensive as some of the other things. I mean, look.
Do you listen to it when it comes on the radio?
I didn't listen to it when it first came out.
Do you have it downloaded anywhere?
But I will give them credit that they created a song that is now played in every sports arena and whatnot. How much money do you think that band has made off of that one song?
Not as much as the House of Pain would Jump Around.
Yeah, but there's a difference. Jump Around is a fucking great song.
That's right, it is. You're right. No, hey, listen, like you said, they make money. Bobby McFerrin made money off that song. Styx made money off of Mr. Roboto. People actually liked that song. I never understood it. But
yeah, but the final countdown, you almost have to give it a pass because it's one of the few songs.
I don't think their intention was to do that.
I don't know. Why do you have me on the show? Why did you just cut me off?
So I can interrupt you.
Look, if you just want to talk, I can just sit back here.
Yeah, I said that to you earlier. I said, start getting some new material. You sound like Mark Flynn stealing material.
Oh, Mark Flynn does not steal material.
He's a material stealer. Oh, yeah.
He is a comedic genius.
No,
he's a
that
material
guy,
stealer.
I'm going to say it to the world. Mark Flynn is a human copyright infringement. This guy is brutal. It's brutal.
Look, I'll go back to the comment that I was trying to make. Is that you almost have to give Europe a little bit of credit because it's one of the few big hits in the 80s that was an instrumental. And look, let me put yourself, or you put yourself in
that wasn't an instrumental.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's not,
final countdown. What the fuck are you talking about?
I forgot.
Ooh.
That's how little I listen to that song.
Hey, Jimmy Calabrese, if you're listening, now you can pick on your brother instead of me for making a mistake. I know his brother says, you know more than him, Jack. You know more than him, Jack.
I forgot that song actually.
See, unlike you, I am a forgiving man. I will not rub your face and shit. We will move on.
Yes. You're kind and warm.
I will pick another moment. I will pick it. I don't forget these things. I don't.
Yeah. By the way, I don't buy it. I think that comment is going to come back over and over and over. I certainly don't think that the ribbing of that, which is deserved. I don't think we have met the final countdown yet.
The fact that you whoa-whoa'd me. You put on a whole scene about, do you want to just talk for the rest of the show? You set up this big thing, and then you're fucking talking about the wrong song.
Well, no. I'm absolutely talking about the right song. In my defense, not that there is any.
There is none.
I will tell you that anytime that it ever came on the radio, all I heard was the opening riff.
I will give you that.
I never heard any of the lyrics.
Mark Flynn says Scott will use that for years. You're damn right I will. Don't think Jack. Hey, and don't think Jack doesn't throw shit back in my face from episodes ago or years ago either. So, all right, let's get past that. Is it your turn? It's your turn.
Well, I will tell you that one of the songs that was a huge hit in the 80s that I hate is She Drives Me Crazy by the Fine Young Cannibals. I never
Was that the 80s or the 90s?
I think that was the 80s.
Oh.
Go to the rectangle.
Let's see.
While you do that.
I thought that was an early 90s song, but I could be wrong. Let me see.
While are you doing it?
Okay, 1989.
Wait.
Released in 80. No, you got it. Nah.
Can you hear that?
No, because you have to hold the speaker to the microphone. Like this.
I am.
Like this. Like this.
I am.
Thank you. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Jack's holding it like it's a regular phone from his house in 1982. Since we're in the 80s, Jack's using an 80s phone.
Wow.
Hey, I like that song. I like the Fine Young Cannibals. I thought who by the way, was created by the two guitarists from what group?
They were in not. They were in with Dave Wakeland.
The English Beat.
The English Beat. They were in the English Beat. So the English Beat split and went to General Public and the Fine Young Cannibals. Fine Young Cannibals. That band they just didn't do it for me.
All right. I love their version of Caught in a Trap. We can't get out.
Terrible.
Because I love you too
No
much,
good.
baby. That's my favorite Elvis song. All right, let me get to mine. Next one. Fucking didn't see the movie. Won't see the sequel. Danger Zone. Kenny Loggins, 1986. He should have left it. He should have stopped it. Caddyshack. Fucking Danger Zone.
The king of 80s soundtracks. So he did Danger Zone for Top Gun. He did Holiday Road, right, for Vacation.
Yeah.
He did I'm All Right for Caddyshack.
Great song. Still a great song.
There may be another one in there that I'm forgetting. If any of our listeners,
he did Footloose.
Oh yeah, Footloose. He was the soundtrack king. How much money do you think he made?
I'll take that off my list too, because Footloose was on there too. Oh, he made a boatload. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. I don't know how you can actually have Footloose on that. Now, I'm not saying that I like the song Footloose, but there is a category of music. So whether it's Kenny Loggins or Lionel Richie or Tiffany or Debbie Gibson or whatnot, those people are supposed to make shit, and they lived up to that. But there are some
to Debbie Gibson before I listen to Footloose.
What about bands? What about bands that you really respected and liked that put out songs that were no good in the 80s?
Rolling Stones, She's So Cold. We've already talked about that in another episode.
Not a great song.
Disaster of a song for them. Horrible, shitty video, fucking shitty music.
I'm so
fucking cheesy.
And she's so cold.
So cheesy. So cheesy.
What about you? What about U2? Were there any songs from U2 in the 80s?
Not in the 80s. Not in the 80s. I did kind of try to see, and there was nothing in the 80s that I didn't like by them.
I think from me, I was never a big fan of Mysterious Ways. Although that was a little bit later.
It was 90s, early 90s, wasn't it? Yeah, early 90s.
It was early 90s.
Yeah.
But then wasn't it in the late 80s that they? No, I'm thinking about it the wrong way.
Yeah, all their albums in the 80s were good. They were good.
Yeah.
You know, then they started changing things up, which they should, and they experimented. Some of it worked. You know.
What about the Police? Any of the Police songs that you dislike?
Oh, fuck yeah! From Synchronicity, 1983, Miss Gradenko. What a fucking shit song that is.
Yeah, but that look, I'm not.
It was on the radio.
I am not defending that song because I think it's a good song, but I think that was a political thing where Sting was just like, okay, and I don't know who wrote it. I'm not sure if it was Andy
Horrible
Summers
song
or Stuart Copeland, but that was a throwaway song.
Oof.
But I will tell you, at least for me, I was not a big fan of Every Breath You Take.
I was at first. Then I hit the overplayed,
saturation.
Yes. Then it just kind of faded away.
Look, the thing that I loved about the Police, and I know that we've had this discussion before, is they had kind of that punky reggae thing going in the early days.
Yeah.
And they turned into, look, Every Breath You Take is something that really belonged on a later Sting solo album.
True. I could give you that. I could give you that.
Yeah.
How about this is a fucking beat song. 1984, Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It. Oh.
Nah.
I could take a bottle of pills before I listen to that whole song. That's a terrible song.
Yeah, it's
a
not
screaming idiot. Yeah. The video is what made it good.
Yeah, sure.
Dude from Animal
House. Animal House, yeah. Niedermeyer.
Pin on your
uniform.
Yeah.
So I will tell you that for me in the 80s, one of the biggest.
I'm sorry. Let me one more touch on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Slade did that originally, and I didn't like that version either. So,
are you sure that they did that?
Slade did it. Yeah.
I think that Slade actually did Come On Feel the Noise.
Oh, they did Come On Feel the Noise. Yeah, and that's on my list. Quiet Riot. Yeah.
So wait a minute. Are you saying that
Slade
did We're Not Gonna Take It?
No. I get that mixed up with Quiet Riot because I don't. That's on my list too. Quiet Riot.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think that Come On Feel the Noise is not a bad tune. The Slade version is better. The Quiet Riot version is slicker.
It's just yelling, and it's just like they were purposely trying to be headbanging. They were like, watch us scream.
No, that's one that I can actually listen to. We're Not Going to Take It every now and again. Every now and again. Every now.
It's I'm in the car.
Admittedly, it's a guilty pleasure.
Okay, it's your prerogative.
I get it.
Bobby Brown, it's my prerogative.
It is your prerogative. So the thing that I was going to bring up was that in the wake of Michael Jackson's popularity with Off the Wall and certainly Thriller, there were a handful of artists that tried to piggyback off of that popularity and to ride that crest, ride that wave. And one of them was our dear friend, Mr. Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger did a duet with Michael Jackson called State of Shock. Holy fucking shit. I would imagine that I would give anything to be in the room with Keith Richards when he first heard about that song and heard that song.
He must have been like,
he must have been, are you fucking kidding me? And by the way, while we're on the topic, we had talked a little bit about, bands and musicians that kind of lost their way in the 1980s. Mick Jagger was certainly one of those people. He put the Rolling Stones on the back burner to pursue a solo album.
Career.
He wanted to be an MTV star. And his solo albums, I'm sorry, are fucking horrible. Dog shit. Especially the first two.
Yeah, well, let's pile on a little more on my list. Mick Jagger and David Bowie fucking dancing in the streets. Oh my God.
So going back,
did you ever see everybody has seen the video of them without the music? Have you ever seen that?
Hilarious. Hilarious. If people didn't catch what Scott just said, on YouTube, there is a video of Dancing in the Streets, Mick Jagger and David Bowie, where somebody has dubbed in these goofy little sounds. It is friggin' hilarious.
Yeah, dubbed in like soft shoe, like it's like soft shoe dancing, There's like negative pauses and these little squeaks and stuff.
It's hilarious. And so much better than the actual song or the actual video.
It's more enjoyable to watch. Yeah,
far more enjoyable. Yeah. I will tell you that one of the more horrifying things that I witnessed was I had the good fortune to be with Phil Kelly. We try to mention him as many shows as we possibly can.
Yep.
At Live Aid in Philadelphia. And back in those days, they didn't have, the planning that they do right now, and they didn't have the material and whatnot. And in between acts, when they were just trying to fill time and keep people entertained, I kid you not, they showed that video 20 fucking times. And it was lousy the first time.
All right, let me jump on this one. Someone mentioned it earlier, but from 1985 again, Eddie Murphy, Party All the Time. Oh my God.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. As stated a couple of times during this, I have my gimmick songs and real shit. Where do you place this?
It's real shit. It's not a gimmick. He was trying. Now, there's a side note to this. It does hold a place in my heart, though. So because we used to hang around my buddies, Jim Hurley, Phil Kelly, Jim McDonald, Bill Curry, Joe McDonald, and Marty Surratt. And Marty Surratt, God rest his soul, and Joe Mac lived together, and we called it the Fun House. And when that song came out, Joe Mac, all he would say is, "'Cause I live with Marty all the time, Marty all the time, Marty all the time. I hang out with Marty all the time." So it holds a place in my heart.
Joe Mac, funny bastard.
And it was in it. Just you couldn't have made it up. When he broke out with it. It just was. It's just you had to be there. It's a Friends thing. Yeah. So it does hold a place in my heart. I hate the song though.
Yeah. So here's one for you. Good video for one particular reason, and I won't go into the details of it. Terrible song, terrible band. Cherry Pie by Warrant.
Oof. On my list.
She's my cherry pie. Holy friggin' shit.
He made a lot of money with that song, though, I think.
I know he made a lot of money.
Drunk, though, you know.
But dude, not for nothing. I mean, come on. Listen to the lyrics of that song.
Know.
He wasn't even trying.
No. Well, I think there is a story behind that, actually. There was a story behind that about the writing of that song and how it was kind of a throw, and he wrote it really fast, evidently.
Apparently
you're right.
So. I actually think what he did was bring your uncle to kindergarten one day and he saw somebody scribbling something in crayon and grabbed it. That song is ridiculously. The girl in the video, Bobby Brown, he was dating her. And it has something to do, but the song was kind of thrown together pretty fast, from my understanding. And it shows. But it was a hit. There's an interesting clip. I can't remember if it was on MTV or some documentary that I saw, but it was like the introduction of grunge. And Janie Lane, who was the lead singer and principal songwriter, if you want to fucking call him that, of Warrant, was surprised that the record company at one point had Warrant albums up, and then the next week there was Alice in Chains albums out. I don't understand how he could possibly not understand that he was not delivering anything of real quality. I mean, that song
got caught up in the hype. They rode a wave for a little while with that hairband stuff.
What? So give me 5 other good Warrant songs.
Oh no, you're not going to get an argument from me.
What were they piggybacking off of?
They're piggybacking off of Poison, all those bands. They were lumped in with them, so that's why they had a little bit of.
Cherry Pie is the song that band is known for.
Yeah, because it was a hit.
I guarantee you. So Janie Lane, unfortunately, I think has passed. But somewhere in this universe, the rest of Warrant is bellying up to a bar and somebody was saying, "Hey, you look like you're a rock star, or you were a rock star, or whatnot." Oh yeah, I was in a band called Warrant. Oh, I think I know them. Can you remind me what songs did you guys play? And these poor bastards are forced at these local bars to go, She's my cherry pie.
Well, their album Dog Eat Dog went gold, right? So
No,
they had
500,000 copies.
They had a
500,000
following.
copies.
Still. Let me
Yeah,
see.
yeah, but listen. You know better than anything that you can't believe those stats. How many of those Dog Eat Dog records were actually purchased by the record company?
Come on, you mean you never heard The Bitter Pill or Machine Gun or The Hole in My Wall or Inside Out? You've never heard these classics, Jack? Come on,
sorry,
you're a music guy.
I would have loved to have listened to them, but I couldn't get past She's My Very Pie.
From 89 to 96 with 5 albums, reaching
Smash Me in the
international sales of over 10 million copies sold.
Unbelievable. It just
I'm
goes
with
to show you.
I'm not trying to, say
No.
you're right.
I know you're a
People
big
fucking
Warren
liked
fan.
them. People liked. Yeah, I'm a Warren
you're
fan. Yeah, can't
By
you
the way,
tell?
By the way, just for the record, I actually saw them play one time. So there was for those of you that were not from the Boston area, there was a rock club called the Channel, which was a mob-run cinder block shithole that had the most amazing
Down on the docks.
down on the docks
down
in a rough and tumble area. There was nothing around it really, but it was one of those places where it literally, like that's where I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And that's where I saw the Ramones and Buddy Guy and the Black Crowes for the first time. But they would have local acts that would play, but they would also have like Muddy Waters played there, and John Lee Hooker played there. But I went and actually saw Paul Stanley in the mid 80s, or maybe it was the late 80s, actually did a solo tour. And the opening band was Warren. And I was sitting at the bar at the Channel, and who was sitting next to me? Lemmy.
Oh, nice. Motorhead.
Lemmy from Motorhead. So I got to chat with him for a couple of minutes, and I actually signed a Channel cocktail napkin that I gave to my brother Jimmy, who still has it.
Good. And, you named off a lot of great bands that played at the Channel, and you're right. I saw Ministry there with your brother. But the greatest band ever to play the Channel was Gwar. I don't care what you say. Gwar was the greatest show ever at the Channel. Greatest show ever. When you're in a competition to see how much blood you can get sprayed on you, it's a badge of honor to come out of that pit covered in red dye.
So there's actually, and it's not out yet, but there's a documentary that's coming out on the Channel that talks about the legacy that was that place. Do you know that Metallica played that place twice? The first time for about 200 people.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What do you got? Give me another song from your list.
I think that I have to identify this. I just called to say I love you.
I'm with you. I'm going to counter that.
Yeah, but before you counter that, I mean, the genius of Stevie Wonder.
I'm going to top you. I'm going to top you.
If you've not seen the movie High Fidelity with John Cusack and Jack Black, classic scene where somebody comes into the record store asking for that song, and Jack Black just shits all over the guy. Hilarious.
I think I'm gonna top you though. Stevie Wonder, Gladys Knight, Elton John, 1982. That's what Friends are for. Which was originally done by Rod Stewart for the movie Night Shift back in '82. But
the Rod Stewart song is actually not half bad. It's not great.
This is a fucking toilet bowl. It's a fucking toilet bowl. With the fucking ring around. It's a subway toilet bowl. With no it's a Mexican bar toilet bowl with no fucking door on the stall and no fucking toilet seat. And the tank top is missing. Top of the tank. That's what that song is. Yeah, keep shitting. Keep shitting.
Knowing you can always count on me.
Song. Good Lord. I think that was a number one, too. What the fuck are these people thinking?
You know what? If you listen to that song very carefully at the very end, when they kind of like finish, at the very end of that song, they say, "That's what friends are for." And Elton John goes, "Yeah." And Dionne Warwick goes, "Yeah, thank you." And I think somebody says, "What the fuck am I doing here?"
I think that was the sound guy. It was the sound guy in the studio. What the fuck am I doing here? They're paying me for this. I'm going to throw another one out there. Fucking, I hate that song. 1980, Ted Nugent, Wango Tango.
Look, I know that. Look, I'm sorry, but what do you expect?
I went to the concert. I saw him play that in concert.
What do you expect? I would challenge you. How many good songs does Ted Nugent have? Stranglehold is a good song.
Cat Scratch Fever is a good song.
Yeah, that's okay.
He did back when he was good song with Damn Yankees. I think it was one good song, but I don't even know if that was that good. I didn't like that band either.
Back in the 60s when he was with the Amboy Dukes.
Yeah. Amboy
Journey
Dukes.
to the Center of Your Mind or whatever it was not a bad tune. But in all honesty, you know what surprises me? Back in 1978, Ted Nugent was the number one touring act in the United States.
No doubt. He was different. He was definitely different.
He was the biggest concert draw.
Look at Perry Dietovich just fucking nailed it. Hit a grand slam. He comments, gob on stage. This dude hucked the biggest fucking lungies I've ever seen. It was like he was throwing them up. And it was constant. Like, how much phlegm does this guy have in his lungs? He's supposed to be some health nut. And he just, during the show, he had to fucking spit about 37 lungies on the stage. I'd hate to be the guy to clean the stage afterwards. It looked like silicone up there.
Do you think
glycerine?
Do you think that he made a conscious decision? Yeah, Gene Simmons, you spit blood and breathe fire. Watch this.
Watch this. Where does it come from? I mean, I remember saying, I go, where the fuck is all this coming from? Like, all right, I'm 10 rows back and the stage is 10 feet back and he's that far back. So and you see it coming out like a baseball. Like, it's like this guy just had talent. He's the greatest spitter ever.
But by the way, Wango Tango. Scott, by the way, Wango Tango. That's all it is.
I like that better.
That's all it is.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's one of the worst songs of the 80s. Fucking kick the 80s off with that song.
Wango Tango.
Yeah. Yeah, he started the 80s with that song. That was a 1980 song. Now, maybe when I was 16, fucking drunk, stoned, and at the Boston Garden, testosterone-driven concert, you know?
No, Ted Nugent, look, I wasn't a huge fan of the band either, but Ted Nugent's biggest or smartest move was to actually get into Damn Yankees, where he played guitar. Let somebody else sing the songs. Let them do that. I bet you that he probably made more money with Damn Yankees than he did as an entire solo career. Let me
take you higher. Hated Damn Yankees. Hated them.
God.
Again, Tommy Shaw from Styx. Not a Styx fan.
Yeah.
Not a Styx. I didn't get that.
What was his name? Jack Blades from what was the name of
Night
that band?
Ranger.
Night Ranger, that's right.
Yeah. Ugh. Give me a song. Give me one.
I'm almost out. I'm into my gimmicky songs. So, I have Respect of Yourself by Bruce Willis.
It's on my list. All right, let's throw that one
what
up.
A disgrace. Ghostbusters, the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Rock Me on the Dais
by Falco.
I like that.
Falco
was a cool motherfucker. Falco, listen.
Amadeus, rock me. Amadeus,
Fucking
Amadeus,
Falco.
Amadeus, rock.
Did you see that motherfucker make an entrance? That dude slicked back. He's fucking coiffed. He's got the hand movements. He can throw a hand and the place goes nuts. He's just, that dude had confidence. You can't dog Falco. You can't dog Falco.
I'll give you that. I just had him in my list of kind of gimmicky songs.
Superstar. I mean, the guy did it in 2 languages.
I'll tell you another one that I had on my list. You know, when you and I actually saw Elton John, remember who the opening band was?
Yeah, you reminded me. Quarter Flash. I thought they backed up. I thought Quarter Flash.
John.
It was Elton John.
Elton John. Yep.
Hard My Heart. Yeah, I remember that the bass drum had the fucking quarter. It was a quarter. Right. Picture of a quarter. And we waited the whole fucking show to hear her sing Hard My Heart.
Which is a whiny song. I hate that song.
It's it's a guilty pleasure okay song.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I mean, she wasn't bad to look at either back in the day. Never really made it any further.
What about Huey Lewis, Stuck on You?
Yeah, Hip to Be Square wasn't a fucking good song either.
No. You know, but there were a couple of, like, I thought that Huey Lewis in the early days, like Working for a Living and even like I Want a New Drug and some of like the acapella stuff, I thought was kind of cool. You know, they were doing something different. It was kind of American, kind of California sound and whatnot. But then Hip to Be Square and Stuck on You, I was like, holy God, these guys are over. It's done. It's all over.
You said something earlier. Jacob's Ladder is my favorite song by them, by the way. I like that song.
Written by who?
I don't know. Prince.
Bruce Hornsby.
Bruce Hornsby in The Range, yeah. All right.
Bruce Hornsby in The Range, yeah.
It sounds like, so you know what? That makes sense. It sounds like something he would write, that type of tempo. You said earlier, like, what kind of, you know, if there's a band you respect and they kind of shit the bed on you, not those exact words, but The Cure, 1983, The Love Cats. That's a little obscure for some people, but you know what I'm talking about. That,
yeah, it's quirky.
Horrible.
It's quirky. It's not a great song, but it's not a horrible song.
Yeah, I can't listen to it. It's just like, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little quirky.
Miss Deb, the wonderful and beautiful Miss Deb.
Oh, don't say
dance.
it. Don't.
Safety Dance is on the list. It's on my list.
Deborah, Scott says that the Safety Dance is one of the worst songs of the 80s.
That's right. That's right.
What did you say? I would repeat what Miss Deb says, that she is under the influence of COVID, and I know this is a family program.
Yeah, it's family, okay. Yeah.
Scott, from the other room, it echoed, fuck him. By the way, she followed that up with F, U, C,
K. Yes.
My wife loves.
I know she does.
Loves that song. When we took her out for her 40th birthday, there's a local band up here in New Hampshire called Gazpacho that does like a lot of 80s stuff and whatnot, and they're really a lot of fun, and they're great musicians. They do a great job, and they played that for her birthday. She went fucking apeshit. It was so much fun.
Hey, that's my Come On Eileen for her. I love that fucking song. I'll never get sick of that song.
I know you do.
I will never get sick of that song. Let me run one more by you. Is this a quirky song? Is this a gimmick song?
You got to run it by me. We got to end this. I got to go pack. I'm leaving at 4 a.m. tomorrow.
Well, you're used to it. The Weather Girls. It's Raining Men. Oof. Is that a gimmick song?
Of course it was.
2 fat ladies. Yeah.
Whoa.
3 fat ladies. What was it?
Whoa.
They were 2 fat ladies.
We're not shaming anybody on this program.
I'm not shaming. I'm calling it like I see it. They were fat ladies.
No.
They sang a song so they could get naked men to dance for them. That's what they did. That's exactly what they did. They said,
"Why don't we move? Well, why don't we move to On This Day in Music?
All right, let's move on to This Day in Music, where Jack gets uncomfortable. All right, on this day in 1957, Elvis Presley started an 8-week run at #1 on the U.S. singles charts with All Shook Up. It went on to be the biggest single in 1957, selling over 2 million copies. On this day in 1968, Apple Music ran advertisements soliciting tapes from unknown artists, offering financial grants as part of a deal to release records on the Apple label. Artists such as Badfinger, Ugg, James Taylor, Mary Hopkin, Jackie Lomax, David Peel, and Elephant's Memory were signed up. On this day in 1968, Deep Purple made their live debut with a gig at the Tastrup in Denmark, formerly known as Roundabout. Guitarist Ritchie Blackmore suggested a new name, Deep Purple, named after his grandmother's favorite song, which had been a hit for Peter DeRose. After his grandmother had repeatedly asked if they would be performing the song, he said, "Let's call the group Deep Purple." Okay, we didn't even mention this today. On this day in 1971, 5 friends at San Rafael High School in California coined the term 420 as a euphemism for smoking pot. April 20th became a popular day to spark one up, as does 4:20 p.m. Fans of the Grateful Dead helped spread the phrase. The Boston song Smokin' clocks in at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. If you multiply the title numbers in Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women number 12 and number 35, you get 420. On this day in 1976, George Harrison, who's good friends with Eric Idle, joined Monty Python on stage. I don't care. John Phillips in 1981. John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas was jailed for 5 years after pleading guilty to drug possession charges. The sentence was suspended after 30 days. How the fuck do you get 5 years? After 30 days, we're going to let you go. How the fuck does that happen? Phillips started touring the U.S. lecturing against the dangers of taking drugs. Just raking in that cash. Just raking in that sucker money. Sucker. On this day in 1993, Aerosmith released Get a Grip, their 11th studio album, which became their best-selling album to date, with sales over 20 million.
It's a good record.
Yeah. Warrant's 5 albums combined only sold 10. Let's jump back to that, right? They sell 20 million with that record. The album, which featured hits "Living on the Edge" and "Crazy," also featured guests Don Henley and Lenny Kravitz. What's her name? The girl, the actress. She made
Alicia Silverstone.
Yep. She was Miss Aerosmith. And this day in 2002, this is interesting. In a dispute over who owned the rights to Nirvana's recordings, former members Dave Grohl and Chris Novoselic asked the Seattle court to prove that Courtney Love was mentally unstable. They told
that must have been a real task.
They told the court.
Yeah, Your Honor, if it pleases the court, could we have Miss Courtney Love just get on the stand for 30 seconds?
Yeah,
that's all.
Can we cross-examine her for 60 seconds, maybe? They told the court that Love was irrational, mercurial, self-centered, unmanageable, inconsistent, and unpredictable. They also claimed the contract was invalid because Love was stoned at the time. Okay. Born on this day, the one and only American singer-songwriter Luther Vandross, who scored a 1989 UK hit with Never Too Much. That's never too much, never too much, never too much. Dun, 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 dun. I love that song. And also, the greatest sandwich ever made. The greatest sandwich ever made. The day after Thanksgiving turkey sandwich was the Luther. The Luther is named after Luther Vandross.
Is it really?
Yeah, because only Luther could eat that sandwich. The fat Luther, that is. Not skinny Luther. Fat Luther.
Oh, man. Here you go again. More fat shaming. Shame on you.
Luther was a fat man. Hey, one of the best concerts I saw at the Garden was him and Anita Baker. That was a good show.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Luther Vandross died on July 1st, 2005 at age 54. He was only 54. 2 years after suffering a major stroke. And that's the show, guys. That's it. we're done. Next week, I will be playing. I will be releasing a episode that we recorded last week because Jack will be on vacation or on work. It's the same thing.
Not on vacation.
Same thing.
I'll be working down in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Working. Okay.
Heading to the Dominican Republic first thing in the morning.
There you go, buddy. There you go on another vacation. Another paid vacation.
Work.
Okay. All right. Hey, listen. You have fun, buddy. You be careful. Don't drink the water. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Be careful.
Hey, I never get to say it, but thank you, everybody, for listening. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Like what he said. And I will, like I said, I won't be here next week. Me and Jack won't be here doing a live show.
How fucking dare you? You giant.
You better get on that fucking plane fast, buddy.
You goddamn.
You better get on that plane.
You son of
If you like the show and you're still listening, share it, tell people about it, enjoy it. If you're watching on YouTube, tell your friends about it. If you're watching for the first time, hit subscribe, hit the alert bell, hit a like, leave a comment. If you're listening on the podcast platforms, which we're on all of them, share it, talk about it. And also, if you like podcasts about supernatural stuff, go listen to True Hauntings and Scary Stories. Our friend, she does a great job with that podcast. If you like that stuff, True Hauntings and Scary Stories. I also edit their YouTube channel, so I gotta plug them. All right, everybody, we'll see you live in 2 weeks.